awards following their successful completion of their BSc top-up programs and others. And over 100 have gone on to study master's programs with Sheffield Hallam, who come over to Sheffield to do so. In fact, just last November I was very privileged to experience a convocation similar to this back in Sheffield, where we had many students graduating who were formerly from SLIIT, and we even had a telecast live back here to Colombo where their families could experience the same day that we had, which was a first, and it was a marvellous occasion. Similarly, hundreds of other students have enrolled on Sheffield Hallam Awards delivered here in Colombo, and we've obviously experienced the graduation of some of you here today, and so it was a great pleasure to be able to do that. And we at Sheffield Hallam are very impressed by students from SLIIT. Those who have gone on to come to Sheffield have actually really impressed many of our staff. Many of them have progressed really well on their courses, and our staff have admired them hugely due to their dedication and their commitment to their studies. And many have gone on to secure some really good jobs and develop their careers. For example, a number now work in Research in Motion, which make BlackBerry devices, I usually know. Another example is Connect, which is a leading enterprise management company, which recruited recently over 3 to 4 Sheffield Hallam SLIIT graduates. And such is their success that the company is aiming to do the same again with many more SLIIT Sheffield Hallam graduates as well. So, as you graduates go on into the world of employment or indeed further study, you will be helping to add to the great reputation of your institution, SLIIT, and hopefully also Sheffield Hallam University. Of course, celebrating your success today doesn't necessarily mean that this marks the end of your learning or your studies. In many ways, it also marks the beginning of the next phase of your life as you become lifelong learners, as you acquire new knowledge, new skills, and as you update yourselves professionally as you begin to build your careers. Globalization, technological and professional changes all combine to require us all to constantly develop our skills. Your degrees have equipped you with the ability, the techniques, to be successful lifelong learners. You must deploy these abilities in the coming years and seize the opportunities to update your knowledge, whether through formal learning, such as masters and postdoctoral programs, or indeed professional development. I was recently reflecting on the purposes of higher education, and I was particularly attracted to the description of it being to equip people as rounded intellectual beings, but also giving them the skills that they will need in a global economy. For the governments of states, global citizenship means taking responsibility within a world that is increasingly interdependent, where populations depend on one another for trade, for knowledge, for the growth of societies, and for continuing work towards international understanding. Those of us, therefore, who run universities are tasked with educating global citizens for the future, graduates who will be not daunted by complexities of the globalized world, but who will work and live confidently and responsibly within it. For teachers, for those of us who teach an internationalized education, our challenge is to enable students not just to understand their own town, their neighbourhood, their village, or indeed their country, but to relate to the international world of the 21st century, both for the sake of their own careers and because of the great need for countries to produce capable, inspirational global citizens. And I hope that is what you will all become, highly capable, responsible, and inspirational global citizens. It is now clear that in this first decade of the 21st century, that the international dimension of higher education is more important than it ever has been at the level of your national system, our national system, at the national higher education system, at the college level, at the student level, at the teacher level. And I would like, therefore, to take this opportunity today to explain a little bit about the importance of higher education being internationalised, especially at a time when your country, Sri Lanka, plans to expand, to develop and indeed internationalise your national higher education system. I'll just briefly focus on how globalisation is driving international higher education and how universities can become central agents in the economic development of their countries. And finally, I'll say something about what a globalised university might be. Firstly, globalisation now combines social, economic and cultural change. Within it, we see formation of worldwide markets operating in uniform ways and with common financial systems, facilitated by massive and fast levels of inter-country investment, cross-border mobility of production. We experience a worldwide system of communications, information, knowledge and increasing ubiquity of culture, leading to what some have called a single world community. Our world is now increasingly characterised by huge interconnectivity, where people, businesses, communities interact with ease and in real time across cities, nations, cultures and geography. Within this world, ICT and IT have facilitated this increasing interconnectedness. Knowledge has therefore become a key dividing line in shaping economic and social development, and indeed shaping power and sometimes inequality. Education plays a major role in globalisation, as it is of course a major generator and user of knowledge. It also contributes to the development and the use of technologies, and it promotes and sustains cross-border association. In many ways, higher education is a central agent rather than a product of globalisation, and universities are certainly central to the drivers of globalisation. For example, in many cities around the world, such as New York, London, Paris, Singapore, Tokyo, Rio, Beijing, Delhi, they all have high densities of universities, and all are intensely linked and interconnected. There is also a high correlation between the size of a student population in a country and its global competitive performance. Indeed, those countries with low student numbers in higher education often are typified by low economic performance. So, with such a strong relationship between knowledge and economic development and progress, and with an increasing economic development based on new industries such as new technologies, advanced manufacturing, new business processes, and of course harnessing the power of ICT, nations have sought to focus their future growth on being knowledge economies, where knowledge is emphasised in creating economic growth and global competitiveness. Therefore, the case for investing in universities and expanding higher education systems becomes actually quite compelling. Universities can play a major role in developing a skilled and flexibly minded workforce to enable nations to compete effectively in the global economy. Innovative research generates new ideas that boost fast-growing and modern industries. Universities help businesses to achieve competitive advantage and to reduce final risk. If I can give you an example about the UK, about the importance of higher education. In the UK, higher education contributed nearly $90 billion to the economy in 2008. Universities directly spent $35 billion and fueled an additional $50 billion of output through their knock-on effects. In total, the output of universities in the UK represented 2.3% of GDP, which is comparable to the UK's tourist industry and computing services industry. That is the scale of the size of higher education. And in also, many of the fastest growing industries in the UK are linked to universities. Advanced manufacturing, bioscience, pharmaceuticals, digital technologies, and of course, all of our healthcare services are often driven by innovative approaches in universities around health. So in the UK, for example, the government has argued that in a globalised knowledge economy, the university system plays a crucial role in equipping people with the skills they need to prosper, and in such an economy there's actually a premium on sophisticated skills, intellectual confidence and employability. So these must be key returns from higher education. And therefore universities and higher education plays a pivotal role in the way that a country engages with the world and how the world engages with the country. In fact, within a globalised knowledge economy, the internationalisation of higher education is seen as a necessary prerequisite for success and progress. In your own country, here in Sri Lanka, you are beginning to equally value the vital role that higher education has in your economic development, as your government seeks to significantly increase the number of students entering higher education and the expansion of the number of institutions that provide higher education. Moreover, you're seeking to become a key educational hub for Southern Asia by attracting more students from different countries to come here to study in Sri Lanka, and therefore the country as a whole will begin to benefit greatly by adding to income in national income terms, and also contributing to the skilled workforce in helping to develop your own economy. And so, like the UK, my country, you too here in Sri Lanka have recognised the importance of a highly mobile international workforce as a key driver for your economic development. And the emphasis that is being given to encourage Sri Lankan institutions to partner, to form collaborations with UK institutions, US institutions, Australian universities, Indian universities, to help build greater capacity for higher education in Sri Lanka is a great motivation. And we at Sheffield Hallam University hope to become involved in this expansion by developing the strong partnership we have with your institution, SLIIT. So, I've tried to set out a little bit about the drivers that are about internationalising higher education. I'd like to say a few words about what a university is about in an internationalised world. No one can be in any doubt about the contribution that higher education can make in the preparation of young people such as yourselves, for your lives as individuals, your lives as employees, your lives as future parents, and ultimately for many of you, your lives as potential political and business leaders in the 21st century. The skills, the knowledge, the values that you take away from your time in higher education will play an important part in determining the choices you will make about how you live your life, what area of work you will enter, and how you will realise your world. And your world, of course, is going to be radically different to the one that was experienced by your parents. As I've already stated, that in the world of connectivity, of social and labour mobility, in a world of global markets and high-speed technology and high-speed change, a world of greater individualism rather than community, you face the consequences and challenges of this changed world. For example, increased social exclusion, the widening inequalities within and between nations, and the threats of the environment. Living as you will do in an increasingly individualised society, you must learn to see yourselves as responsible for your own lives, your own actions, and your own futures. Living also increasingly in a borderless world, you must be equipped for life in a global society and a global economy. Therefore, I believe higher education has a key role in shaping the student experience, which nurtures the future global citizens of tomorrow, and which enables students and graduates to make positive contributions to a global society and a global economy. Of course, in addition to our economic and national policy drivers for internationalising higher education, I believe there's also an ethical driver. We in universities need to produce graduates educated with core values, values which are transferable between local, regional and national contexts into the global and international arena. These might include, for example, values such as respect for cultural and ethnic diversity, a commitment to sustainable development, a recognition of the importance of partnership, both local and global. And added to this, of course, are values which instill notions of transnational responsibility. Such values underpin the civilising value of higher education, which I believe is one of the central core motives of going to university.